Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Gtech Community Stadium. Goalless between Brentford and Crystal Palace, and barring a couple of efforts for Brentford which were just wide and one good effort from Olise which forced a save from Raya, that scoreline pretty much reflects how the first half went. There wasn't too much end product for either side in front of goal. Let's hope that does improve in the second half for both Brentford and Palace could do with a win today. Brentford have been in excellent home form, barring that defeat at home to West Ham. Bees really have been in excellent home form this season. Their only defeats at home this season coming against West Ham in the FA Cup, and a reversal against Arsenal back in September. Other than that, they really have been in a very, very good home form, have the Bees, whereas Crystal Palace, if they've held Brentford to a goalless draw at half-time, they'll feel as though they can kick on in the second half and try and get an away win, try and get their season back on track after a very tough restart since the Premier League resumed. No changes for either side. Just to run you through the two sides very quickly. Palace have won themselves a free kick after Klein was caught by Yohan Wissa. Brentford have David Raya in goal. A back four of Aaron Hickey, Ethan Pinnock, Ben Mee and Rico Henry. The three in midfield: Josh Da Silva, Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen, with Brian Mbeumo, Yohan Wissa and Ivan Toney as the three up front. For Crystal Palace, Vincente Gaeta is in goal. It's a back four of Nathaniel Klein, Joachim Andersen, Mark Guay and Tyrick Mitchell. The two holder midfielders are Sambi Lokonga and Czech Ducour. The three ahead of them are Michael Olise, Jordan Ayew and Jeff Schlupp, with Jean-Philippe Mateta as the front man. Brentford giving away a free kick here as the ball was played up towards the halfway line, and Da Silva just catching Sambi Lokonga there. Brentford's Da Silva not too impressed with that decision, but he does catch the midfielder there. Didn't think there was too much attempt to play the ball. Palace have taken the free kick short. Guay then plays the ball down the left channel here for Mateta, who holds it up and plays it over towards Mitchell, but Pinnock is back there tracking that. He clears that one into midfield. Da Silva then takes it down and then launches a ball over the top, which was intended for Yohan Wissa, but there is Joachim Andersen with a comfortable header just to get the ball back under Palace's control. It's back to Gaeta. Long clearance up towards the halfway line, headed forward by Ben Mee, who is Brentford's only player with a booking in the first half. There were two bookings for Palace in the first half, with Andersen and Jordan Ayew picking up the yellows in the first 45. A throw on to Brentford down the left here. Rico Henry sending it towards Wissa. Bounces over his head. Andersen then heads it out. So Brentford have gained around 20 yards there with that throw. Rico Henry across to take this. Just waiting a little bit to see whether or not his teammates get forward. So this might be a bit of a set-piece throw here from Brentford, like they like to do. Matthias Jensen then winding up to take the throw. Not much of a run-up from him, though. He takes it short in the end to Rico Henry. Henry gets a ball into the box. Toney trying to turn and shoot. He's closed down. Aaron Hickey trying to win the second ball back for Brentford. The Palace players are unhappy. They thought there was a late challenge there as Brentford won the ball back. Paul Tierney, our referee, stood very close by. Nothing doing for him. And Brentford in possession here in midfield with Ben Mee over towards Aaron Hickey on the right-hand side, being closed down by Lokonga. It's back into Josh Da Silva, who's dropped a little bit deeper for Brentford this time, but no options to send that ball long, so he goes all the way back towards David Raya. Brentford just quite happy to keep possession. So yeah, it was an unusual first half across the Premier League in terms of the very few goals being scored. Only a few goals to tell you about, with Chelsea trailing at home to Southampton by 1-0, and Chelsea. And so the other game, of course, is Forest trading at home to Manchester City. But here come Brentford now with Josh Da Silva at the edge of the area. Finds Toney. Toney dances away but bounces into Andersen. And I say he bounces into Andersen because he hits the deck there. Ivan Toney and Joachim Andersen there just coming together there, because Toney unhappy that he was brought down. Andersen unhappy that Toney went down too easily. In the meantime, Palace have broken forward, and here is Ayew bringing the ball forward now for Palace. Gets to the edge of the area, lifts a cross in, and it's a header down from Jeff Schlupp. It's wide of the target, but it was a good counter-attack there from Palace. Perhaps Brentford still distracted by a half-hearted penalty appeal at the other end. We'll see. Da Silva feeds this ball into Ivan Toney. As he's turning, Andersen is standing his ground, and then Toney hits the deck, and Andersen immediately turns to the referee and says that should be a booking for Toney for simulation. Referee in the end doesn't give Toney a yellow card, but there was never any danger of that being a penalty, and especially not after a VAR review. I can't imagine that VAR would tell the referee, no, we're back underway here now. So all is well. It's 50 minutes gone, still goalless here between Brentford and Crystal Palace. We do have a goal though at Molineux, and it's Wolves who trail by 1-0 against Bournemouth. I'll tell you what, with Bournemouth and Southampton both leading early on this afternoon, Leeds and Everton are still drawing, so it makes things very interesting down the bottom of the table. Got some massive game at Goodison between Everton and Leeds. 0-0 there between Sean Dyche's side and Michael Skubala's side. Now Brentford in possession down the right-hand side here with Aaron Hickey. Gets it in towards De Silva, back to Mbeumo, and a much deeper role here for this particular move. He's switching play now with a great ball over towards the left-hand side. Taken down very easily here by Rico Henry, who then puts a cross in, which is such a disappointment. And Rico Henry having to just put his hand up and apologise there, because when you look at where Tony and Visser were at the edge of the area and around about the penalty spot, why Rico Henry is lifting a ball which is curling and going over the bar. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. Was that a shot from Aaron Hickey? Was that a shot there from Rico Henry? Or was he trying to just pick out a teammate and just gets the cross all wrong? In any case, Brentford look like they're preparing their first substitution. It is Kevin Schade, the German forward signed from Freiburg. I think quite a few Brentford fans thought that they were part of the reason why it was behind signing Schade was the fact that at some stage Brentford may have to say goodbye to Ivan Toney for a period of time once the FA charges are brought to book. Of course, with the amount of those charges, Toney still has some time until the deadline where he has to either contest them, ask for a hearing, or indeed plead guilty. But for the time being, he's still able to play here for Brentford. 52 minutes gone, goalless at the Gtech Community Stadium. Confirmation that it was Tavernier that got the goal for Bournemouth away at Wolves. But here come Brentford now with Visser at the edge of the area. Lifts a cross in, but it's easily cleared by Anderson. Back into midfield, headed on by Jordan Ayew. One back for Brentford, though, by Ben Mee. Gets the ball back from Rico Henry, does Ben Mee, but his pass towards the edge of the area easily dealt with by Anderson. Doucouré then heads it on. One back, though, by Norgard. It goes over the head of De Silva. Looks a little bit messy in midfield here for Brentford as Mbeumo goes down. That is going to be a free kick to the Bees. Jeff Schlupp is trying to say that it certainly wasn't a foul from him. Referee Paul Tierney thinks otherwise, though. I mean, there isn't too much in there. I can see why Schlupp is a little bit unhappy. I mean, potentially you could say that Mbeumo was already losing his balance there, but Brentford will certainly take the free kick. They'll be happy with this one because it's an opportunity to try and get this ball into the box. It's about 40 yards out over on the right-hand side here for Matthias Jensen. And he has players to aim for inside the penalty area. Palace have set up at the edge of the box with their offside, just to make it as difficult as possible here for Brentford to get bodies into the box. Jensen standing over this one, waiting to see where his teammates are. Lifts this one into the box. Ooh, it's just a little bit too much on that one from Jensen in the end. I think Norgard does get a touch on it, but he is unable to get that one on target. It's out for a goal kick in the end. We'll see from this replay that, well, I don't think there's anybody offside there for Brentford, but it's just the barest glance there from Christian Norgard. Not enough to really change direction of the ball to actually get it on target. And Palace now looking to restart play here. Vicente Gaeta thought about taking it short. He does take it short. There are still 3 Brentford players in and around the Palace penalty area. In the end, it's a short goal kick from Gaeta. Then it's a long clearance from Gueye, but it doesn't reach anybody in a Palace change strip. So it's played back all the way to David Raya, who then clears it long. Tony takes it down for Matthias Jensen. Jensen back to Tony. Good challenge there in midfield from Lokonga. But Brentford still keep the ball here now with Christian Norgard. Over towards the right-hand side. Hickey finding Mbeumo. Getting away here from Schlupp. Mbeumo able to hold this up. Plays it back towards the halfway line. And Ben Mee really having to scrabble across to keep that in play. It works out well for Ben Mee in the end because he was losing his balance. All he could do was just fire that ball along the touchline. And it deflected off Michael Olise. So Brentford want to throw as a result of that. And they're still in possession here inside their own half with Ethan Pinnock finding Aaron Hickey, who then lifts the ball down the right-hand side. Taken down here by Mbeumo. He did well to get past Mark Gueye and Lokonga, but as Lokonga was getting back towards Mbeumo, all he could do there was just play it into space, and in doing that, he was actually playing himself into touch there in Mbeumo. So it is out for A goal kick to Palace, taken quickly, and here comes Ayew now down the left-hand side for the Eagles. Is crossed towards the penalty area, headed away by Norgard. Loose ball taken down by Lokonga. Back to Ayew, gets it into the penalty area. It's a header from Mateta, but I mean the ball was already at quite a good height there for Mateta, and then lifts it as he jumps for that one. So in the end, the header goes quite a way over the bar. There was no offside against Mateta when that ball was played in. He out-muscled Ben Mee. I think that was part of the problem for Mateta. He was working so hard to get away from the Brentford defender that when the ball actually arrived at his head, perhaps just rushed the header a little bit and sent it over the bar as Brentford go down the down the left-hand side, I should say. Visser stopped by Nathaniel Klein, who's just in a little bit of pain there. Visser trying to help up Nathaniel Klein. He's still checking over that left foot there. Klein will see if he's okay to play on. Well, I tell you what, I mean Visser does catch Nathaniel Klein. They're just looking at that replay, and Klein is still writhing around in pain. I mean, it's all friendly between him and Visser, but tell you what, that was right in front of the benches as well. There's no intent there from Visser. I think he does want to win the ball, but there is a bit of a stud showing there onto that left foot of Nathaniel Klein. Onto Brentford, nodded straight out by Klein. Out for another throw here. Ivan Toney under pressure from Lokonga and from Ducour, going back towards Ben Mee. He now square to Ethan Pinnock, over towards Aaron Hickey, closed down here by Jeff Schlupp. Palace just trying to press a little bit higher up the field. This is something they weren't doing in the first half. It makes sense that Vieira's told them to do this now in the second. As the ball goes over the top here for Visser, he chases that one to the edge of the area. It needed a decision there from goalkeeper Vincente Gaeta. In the end, actually, there was also a decision from the linesman, which helps Palace out, because we can see from this replay that, yes, he's at least maybe one or two, maybe a couple of steps offside there, Johan Visser, as that ball is played over the top to him. So although he nearly got there ahead of the goalkeeper, it wouldn't have counted anyway. Brentford now give away a free kick on the halfway line. Ethan Pinnock jumping into Jordan Ayew. And that is a free kick to Palace, which taken quickly here, taken short by Ducour. Back towards Anderson. Lokonga now finding space on the halfway line here for Jeff Schlupp. And then Lokonga with the ball over the top, chasing this one is Olise, but Raya will just make sure that it's out for a throw. With Raya chasing that one all the way to the sideline there, out for a throw to Brentford. The goalkeeper rushing back to get into his position. And it is Rico Henry to take this throw. Just to remind you of the two benches, but there really isn't much happening on the field, so we might as well have a look at the benches. Damsgaard, Roslev, Janelt, Zanka, Schade, Ayer, Lewis Potter, Baptiste, and goalkeeper Matt Cox on the bench for Brentford this afternoon. For Palace, it is Edouard, Eze, Hughes, Milivojevic, MacArthur, Ahamada, Riedewald, Richards, and goalkeeper Whitworth on the bench for the Eagles this afternoon. 59 minutes gone. Still goalless between Brentford and Palace, although I am getting word that there may have been a goal for Brighton at home to Fulham. That's, I will confirm that in just a moment. That's a game that certainly will interest Brentford, not just because it's their local rival Fulham involved, but it's also because a draw between Brighton and Fulham and a win for Brentford could have seen the Bees jump into a 6th place this evening. But I've not got confirmation as to whether that goal for Brighton has actually gone in, and it's still goalless here, of course, as De Silva tries to nod a ball on here for Mbeumo. Mbeumo gets it back to Josh De Silva, turning away from Tyreek Mitchell. Back into Matthias Jensen. This is still around 40 yards out from Palace's goal. Hickey now down the right-hand side, playing a quick 1-2 there. It's with Mbeumo. Right-footed cross into the penalty area, headed away by Anderson. It's back towards the edge of the area. Norgard with the strike, and he really put his left foot through that as well, but it was straight down the middle. And Gaeta makes a good save into the chest. It just deflected away from Gaeta, but it was always close enough to the Palace keeper that he was able to grab that ball before any rebound. So it fell invitingly here for Norgard. And the effort was straight down the middle, though, and Gaeta gets there just ahead of Johan Visser. All out for a throw to Crystal Palace down the left-hand side. We've hit the hour mark here. Independent unofficial off-tube studio commentary. Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 0. Bees win the ball back here in midfield now, and it is Josh Da Silva playing a ball to Mbeumo down the right-hand side. He gets to the edge of the area. He's got 3 players in the box. It's Mbeumo's cross, headed away by Anderson. Back into midfield, headed forward now by Henry. Oh, it's a heavy touch from Jensen. Wasn't an easy ball to control, in fairness. And Mitchell now, left-hand edge of the penalty area, gets the ball up towards, well, he tries to clear it up towards the halfway line. He's helped out by Mbeumo. It deflects off the Brentford man and out for a Palace throw, which will just allow them to slow things down. They've not had much of the ball in the last 5-7 minutes here, have Palace. That's something that Patrick Vieira's side will want to remedy if they're going to make a bit more of an impact in terms of getting a goal in this game. Just seeing another replay of that effort from Norgard. It was a decent strike. He put his left foot through it, but it was always down the middle. There's never much danger of the goalkeeper being there. Brentford preparing a double change. Mentioned Kevin Schade was getting some information from Thomas Frank, and now Mikkel Damsgaard. It's a bit of a surprise, really, Mikkel Damsgaard. He came to Brentford with such a good pedigree, if you like, from playing for the Danish national team and in Serie A. But he's been really sparingly used as a substitute. Hardly had any starts for Brentford at all. That said, Thomas Frank isn't a manager that does a huge amount of squad rotation, especially recently, as Brentford have been playing very well. But I think Damsgaard and quite a few of the Brentford fans would have expected him to have been involved a bit more than what he has been up to now. He is going to get some time on the field soon. Damsgaard and Schade are getting ready to come on. In the meantime, Brentford in possession here with Mbeumo down the right-hand side. He finds Da Silva. Da Silva trying to get away from Mitchell. He lifts across into the box. Henry is there. It's headed towards goal, but Henry's header was looping towards goal rather than being a direct header that would have worried Gaeta, and Gaeta makes the save. Doesn't change the fact that Gaeta is remonstrating with somebody on that far side. I can't tell from this camera angle if he was having a go at his left back Mitchell or if indeed he was unhappy with the linesman. Couldn't really see where there would have been an argument for an offside. So I'm not sure if the linesman, unless he felt perhaps that there was a bit of a push there from Tony as he tried to make the catch. Didn't seem to be too much in that. But substitutions now for Brentford, and it is going to be Josh Da Silva. He's going to be going off to be replaced here by Mikkel Damsgaard. So Da Silva is off and Damsgaard is on. So he will have just under half an hour here. And the other change is Johan Visser. He gets the hook to give Kevin Schade a good half an hour on the field for Brentford this afternoon. And Palace, are they getting ready to make a change? Yes, they are. It's Ebi Eze getting ready to come on for Palace. And he comes on to replace Lokonga. That does surprise me, I must admit. If I was going to pick a Palace player that I thought it looked solid and very steady in their position this afternoon, I think Sambi Lokonga will probably be the first one I would mention. So I'm a little surprised that he's the first one to go off. Unless, of course, this is to do with perhaps a slight change of formation, perhaps a slight change of positioning here for Palace in terms of how they want to go forward, as straight away involved in the action here is Olise trying to play the ball forward to Ayew, and as he was following that one up, they felt there was a foul there. Certainly Olise appealing towards the referee. No free kick given. It is out for a throw to Brentford down the left-hand side, taken quickly here by Damsgaard. Schade is chasing this one. Anderson gets there first. He's out for a throw to Brentford down the left-hand side. Just to confirm, there was no goal scored in the Brighton-Fulham game. It was a false alarm in that one, so it's still 0-0. Still no goals scored in the Premier League in the second half, barring that one goal for Bournemouth away at Wolves. But it's a throw to Brentford down the left-hand side here. Still plenty of... but I should point out, by the way, that both of these games finished 0-0 last season. So perhaps we shouldn't be surprised that it's 0-0 here after 65 minutes. I'll tell you one game where it's not 0-0, it's Goodison Park, and that's where Everton have just taken the lead against Leeds United. Seamus Coleman, long-serving Ireland international there. Everton captain giving Toffees the lead there as Brentford with this throw down the left-hand side. It's Matthias Jensen lifting across in towards the back post again. Brentford's quality of delivery has left a lot to be desired this afternoon. Could list about 5 or 6 players that have overdone it with their crosses today, and now Matthias Jensen could be added to that list. And the referee, that's interesting there, Paul Tierney just having a quick word there with Matthias Jensen. I mean, essentially, Paul Szczerbakowicz just gave Jensen a quick lesson on how to take a throw, because I think he was suggesting to the Brentford midfielder that perhaps Jensen isn't quite putting that ball behind his head like he should be. It's one of those things that you can get away with on the field. I mean, apart from the fact that with some referees, you can steal about 10 or 15 yards from when the ball left the field to where the throw-on is actually taken from. You do sometimes see players just rushing throw-ons, and to say, if you were to be completely pedantic and strict about it, you would say that some of them are foul throws. But I think Jensen was on the borderline there, which is why Paul Szczerbakowicz just having a quick word there with the Brentford number 8, as here come Palace now with a long ball down the left-hand side to Ayew, who holds it up for Mitchell. Mitchell's cross gets a deflection off the backtracking Aaron Hickey, and it is out for a corner kick to Palace. So for the first time in a while, Palace are going to be able to get some players into the Brentford penalty area. Good opportunity this for Palace. They have certainly enough players that can threaten here from a set piece. So just waiting to see who it is who's going to take it here for Palace. It's an outswinger from Michael Olise towards the near post, headed away by Norgard. Back to Michael Olise, tries a second time to get across into the box. It's Ben Mee with a header away for Brentford this time. Drops into midfield. Doucouré was one of the last players back there for Palace. Lifts that ball towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area, and Mbeumo wins it back, but then almost gives it away. And now Mateta coming back, potentially from an offside position. Brentford would be appealing that, but as he played that ball in towards Ayew, it's cleared back into midfield anyway. Damsgaard's ball out, gets a slight deflection, and Mbeumo still chasing this one. Ivan Toney back to Brian Mbeumo, who's trying to get away here from Mitchell, but that's really good work there. Tyrick Mitchell just kept his head and slides in to put the ball out for a throw to Brentford down the right-hand side, and Mbeumo uses that quick interlude there just to turn to the Brentford fans in the West Stand, just encouraging them there to try and give the players a little bit more support. So with 67 minutes gone, we're into the last quarter of this match, and it is still goalless here between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Throw on to the home side, level with the edge of the area here. Matthias Jensen, fresh from his refresher course with the referee on how to take a throw on. He's now winding up to take as long a throw as he can here. It is a long throw from Jensen towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed on by Pinnock, then headed away by Mitchell. It drops to Jordan Ayew, who takes a touch, takes 2 touches, turns into a trouble here in the form of Damsgaard. Then he lays it back to Mitchell, who then clears it towards the halfway line, aimed at Eze. Ebi Eze does well there, gets away from 2 Brentford players, and then draws a challenge from Damsgaard to win his side a throw. And it's just starting to find their feet a little bit more in midfield. It's not quite as easy for Brentford to keep that possession in and around the Palace penalty area now. And it's a throw on down the left-hand side here. Mitchell taking this one, taken down by Brentford, winning back though, but Damsgaard's ball is just behind Brian Mbeumo. So Palace get it straight back here with Eze. Down the left-hand side. Eze going forward towards the edge of the area, plays that ball across. It's then taken down here by Olise. Olise lifting the ball in, and it's Palace that take the lead. And it's the substitute, Ebi Eze, that gives Crystal Palace the lead. They just overloaded the penalty area. Brentford couldn't clear their lines, and it's a cross from the left-hand side, headed in by substitute Eze. And that will delight the Crystal Palace fans. They really have struggled in front of goal over the last 6 or 7 games. But now with just 21 minutes to play, it is Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. And it's the substitute, Ebi Eze, that's given Palace the lead. Patrick Vieira will be delighted about that. His side have looked second best for times in periods in this second half, but it just too many players getting into the box. And as Ayew put the first ball in, it was cleared away, taken down by Olise, and it's a lovely ball in from Olise. Nobody tracking Eze, and he nods the ball to give Crystal Palace the lead. So the deadlock finally broken at the Gtech Community Stadium, but it is the visitors, Crystal Palace, that take the lead. After a long period of being sat inside their own half, struggling to get any kind of midfield dominance, they just managed to get a good run down the left-hand side. A ball broke into the box. It was only partially cleared. It dropped to Michael Olise, who had a very measured cross towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and there was substitutes Ebi Eze to head the ball. It was a powerful header from close range. David Raya, no chance. No Brentford player tracked Eze's run into the box. And Palace, who would say that their value for this lead in terms of matching Brentford for possession, making it difficult for Brentford to play their normal game, and it's the Eagles who now lead. 70 minutes gone. It's Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. This fantastically long unbeaten run that Brentford have enjoyed in the league is in serious danger now. Thomas Frank immediately calling over his assistants, which he likes to do. Have a quick sort of 30-second, 1-minute conference there, just in front of the dugouts, just trying to work out the best way to try and get back into this game. Patrick Vieira, meanwhile, will be hoping that his side, who have already been resolute this afternoon in their approach, can now have something to hold on to, of course, with that lead. So they'll be very happy indeed. And look at the way Brentford have dominated in terms of possession in this game, but they haven't really had the chances to show for it. And Raya now with a long clearance. Well, Brentford have got 19 minutes here plus injury time to do something to get back into this game. And Norgard now heading it on. Jensen trying to get that ball back towards Damsgaard. Norgard may have been fouled there. I think the referee has signalled that it is a foul, but he's going to allow play to go on because Brentford still have possession. It's Ben Mee's ball to find Ivan Toney. Takes it down and finds Damsgaard. Damsgaard over towards Sharda down the right-hand side. Sharda's got Hickey on the other, but Sharda's going himself, taking on Tyrick Mitchell. Both sets of players saying it should be our ball. That should be a corner kick to Brentford. The final touch there looked to me as though it definitely came off Tyrick Mitchell. But the referee has a different view here, deciding that is just a goal kick. It was Jordan Ayew with good work down the left-hand side. Played that ball in. Doucouré then held it up for Olise, and Olise's cross headed in by Ebi Eze. Good ball from Olise. Good header from Eze. Brentford just guilty of not really marshalling that penalty area very well, not dealing with the ball as well as they could have done after they stopped the initial cross coming in from Jordan Ayew. Palace now will win it back here on the right-hand side with Olise. Back into Klein. Back towards the halfway line here. Anderson to Guehi. And it's played over towards Mateta. Could have been fouled there. Referee allows play to go on. And this is good work here as the ball is brought out now by Schlupp. Played over towards the right-hand side. Here's Olise trying to get a shot away. His effort is blocked inside the box by Ben Mee. And then Sharda was shoved off the ball as he was trying to win that header for his side. Shoved off the ball there by Doucouré. Doucouré with a sort of a slightly disbelieving look towards the referee, but that is the decision. It is a free kick to Brentford, and meanwhile the Bees are preparing a double change here. Vitaly Janelt, who tends to come on for Josh Da Silva every game. Either Da Silva starts and Janelt replaces him, or vice versa. Of course, Da Silva's already off the field with Damsgaard replacing him, so I'm wondering whether this is going to be a change either for Jensen or Norgard. And Keane Lewis Potter's getting ready to come on as well. But here come Brentford on the attack now, down the right-hand side with Mbeumo. His cross headed away at the edge of the area by Doucouré, back into midfield. One back here by Pinnock. And then Norgard in towards Damsgaard, who hits the deck. No free kick, though, says the referee. And now Jordan Ayew is able to bring the ball out for Palace. Plays it short towards Eze. Eze heading towards the penalty area, gets that into Mateta, who turns and shoots. That's such an important block there. Just the presence of Rico Henry keeps Brentford in this game, because if Rico Henry isn't there, Mateta is turning 10 yards out, and there's nobody in between him and David Raya, and it would be odds on there that Mateta would score from that sort of position. He could have actually taken another step or two forward and then tried to send the goalkeeper the wrong way as he was finishing a one-on-one, but it wasn't to be, because it was good work there from Rico Henry just to make sure that the shot from Mateta was blocked. Brentford now in possession here with Matthias Jensen, still deep in his own half, over towards the right-hand side for Aaron Hickey. Hickey finding Damsgaard. Back from Mbeumo, back towards Hickey. What a great run. This is Hickey, gets towards the edge of the area. He feels as though he might have been brought down at the edge of the area. The Brentford players are absolutely furious here. And there's going to be a yellow card here for Christian Norgard for getting in the referee's face. I can see why Brentford are frustrated. I'm trying to see whether or not the referee thought it was a foul and then just allowed play to go on for the advantage, and then thought there was enough advantage and didn't think it was a corner, whether or what it wasn't a foul at all. We'll see from this replay. It's Hickey heading towards the edge of the area. Well, I think that should be a corner then if the referee doesn't think it was a foul. I mean, to me, does Hickey have the last touch? It may well be that he did. It's a difficult one to see even after a couple of replays. But the Brentford captain, Christian Norgard, goes into the book. And changes here for Brentford. Aaron Hickey is going to go off, as indeed is Rico Henry. So both both fullbacks going off here for Brentford. So there's going to be a back three now, you would imagine. Vitaly Janelt can, as an emergency, play as a centre-back, and that's what he's going to be asked to do here. I think Janelt was going to join a back three with Pinnock and Ben Mee. As for Keane Lewis Potter, he's going to join the attack. So Brentford going all out now to try and fashion an equaliser here. So the next game for Brentford is not for over 2 weeks, actually. The Bees have a weekend off next weekend due to play Manchester United at Old Trafford, but with United in the Carabao Cup final on the same day. That's now going to be moved to another day, and Brentford then play Fulham in the Monday night game on the 6th of March. So after today, Brentford have 16 days until their next game. Gives them a real chance to recharge the batteries. All the more reason why they'll be desperate to try and at least get a point from this game. Palace looking resolute in this game. They were organised at 0-0, and now, of course, you expect a bit of a surge from Brentford, but Palace look well equipped this afternoon. Just to say that though, Gaeta slices his clearance slightly. Out for a Brentford throw. Referee plays advantage after a slight foul on Mbeumo. His cross is charged down. That's out for a corner. And Brentford now with a chance from the set piece to try and put some pressure here on this Palace defence. It did look as though there was some activity on the Crystal Palace bench as well. But I'm sure they'll be waiting until after this corner kick to make these changes. It's with Bryan Mbeumo on the right-hand side. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Mbeumo. Just waiting to see where his teammates are in the box. So Mbeumo lifts it into the 6-yard box. Anderson with the header. It drops to Janelt, who shoots towards goal. It gets a deflection. It's then headed back towards Mbeumo by Damsgaard. Mbeumo can't find space for the cross. He goes back towards Enson. That ball is taken down by Schade. Tony couldn't get a shot away himself. Plays it back to Lewis Potter, who does well to hold on to the ball. It gets it away from Olise. And now it's Schade's cross, which is charged down by Klein. And then Klein able to get onto the loose ball, who plays it in towards Jeff Schlupp, who's now closed down by Norgard, but Schlupp is still able to get a lovely ball out towards the left-hand side for Eze, who does really well to turn. And Eze is off now down the left-hand side for Palace. His ball into the box is picked off by backtracking Bryan Mbeumo, who then plays it back towards David Raya. Now it's with Vitaly Janelt pressing forward for Brentford down the left-hand side into Damsgaard, who turns and finds a ball down the left here for Lewis Potter. Getting towards the edge of the area, finds Damsgaard back to... Oh, it's just in front of Lewis Potter. There was nobody behind him coming in at the edge of the D for Brentford. So Palace are able to clear their lines, but Brentford comes straight back. Here is Schade now down the right-hand side. And he goes on the overlap. Schade gets the ball back here. Tries to lift across in. It's towards the back post. Headed down by Damsgaard. Drops to Tony, trying to find space for the shot. Tony! Oh, he's off balance. And he has shanked that one a long way wide. That would have been over the rugby post that's put up here at the Gtech when London Irish play their home games at the same stadium. And certainly, Ivan Tony won't want to see that again. It's... I mean, there is a Palace player in front of him. The ball is just sort of spinning as it's bouncing away from Tony inside the box. But even so, you'd back Brentford's talisman to get a little bit more on that than what he did. And so, well, he got a lot on it, I should say. He could be more accurate with that effort. But Palace now getting ready to make a double change. It's going to be Jean-Philippe Mateta. He's off the field to be replaced by Odsonne Edouard. So the former Celtic man now getting just under a quarter of an hour here to try and make an impact. Fresh legs here up front for Palace, for Brentford to worry about. Just waiting to see who the other change is here for Palace. Did look as though there was going to be a double change. It's going to be a double change. One young Frenchman replaces another as Michael Olise is off, and it's Nayuwaru Akamada who is on the field now. Akamada, 20-year-old Frenchman on the field now, and in the meantime there's another problem here for Palace as well. Just going to wait to see. It looks as though, is that Mitchell who's down on the ground here for the Eagles? He's just being checked over here now by this physio. Referee is across as well. Ivan Toney is there as the medicine man, just trying to help him to get up as quickly as possible. Of course, it's in Brentford's interest to restart play and get into this game as quickly as possible. It's still a low-scoring Saturday in the Premier League, but there now is only 1 0-0 in the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and that is at the Amex. Brighton 0, Fulham 0. It's Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1 in this game. It's still Chelsea 0, Southampton 1 at Stamford Bridge. Everton lead Leeds United by a goal to 0. Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 1, and Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Bournemouth 1. Still to come at 5:30 this evening on our service. It is Newcastle against Liverpool. Should be a very exciting game there at St James's. First time in a while, you have to say, that Newcastle would probably be favourites really to win that game when you consider just the sort of form that they've had. Now we'll see what's happened to Mitchell here. Just seems to have overstretched as he was trying to stop that cross from the right-hand side from Kevin Schade, and he seems to have really felt that one. So he's off the field now, and Palace forced into making another change here. It's going to be. Looks like it's going to be the young American here, Chris Richards. He comes on to replace Tyrick Mitchell. So Chris Richards is on now, trying to just steady that defence, or join what is already a very steady defence, I should say, just to make sure that Palace can see out this game. There's going to be a fair bit of injury time at the end of this second half, I would imagine. We're at 82 minutes on the clock now. I would guess that we're probably somewhere in the 4 to 5 minute mark as it is. But Brentford on the attack down the right-hand side now with Kevin Schade. Back to Damsgaard. Pinnock on the halfway line now, square to Ben Mee. He looked up, but didn't fancy a long ball himself. Plays it to Janelt, whose pass is immediately charged down here by Ayew. Still in play though. Brentford getting ready to make another change. Just trying to see who that was who was getting ready to come on for the Bees. Quite make it out in that quick shot there, but Brentford now with Mbeumo down the right-hand side with Damsgaard back in towards Jensen. Jensen with the ball into the box. Schade gets underneath that one, but he lifts it over the bar, and it may well be that he actually took the ball off the head of Ivan Toney, who seemed to be getting ready to go for that one himself. It wouldn't have been an easy one. It was quite a high cross to deal with anyway. But it is Shandon Baptiste on for Brentford now for these last few minutes, and he's on for Christian Norgard. He's been booked, Christian Norgard. He's just had a bit of a frustrating second half, so it makes sense to get some fresh legs into that central midfield for Brentford. So the Bees now having to win the ball back here. It's a goal kick to Crystal Palace, taken by Vicente Gaeta towards the halfway line. Headed on there in midfield by Akamada. Now it's Baptiste trying to win this ball back for Brentford. Is Akamada again running straight into the B substitute. Out for a throw to Crystal Palace. Taken back towards Vitaly Janelt. And then, by the way, goal at the City ground. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll be celebrating this one because Nottingham Forest have an equaliser against Manchester City. There's still many a twist and turn in this title race in this Premier League season. I mean, as I say, who would have thought earlier today when you were going through the fixtures that Bournemouth would win away at Wolves, that for Forest would hold City to a draw, and that Southampton will be winning away at Chelsea. There's some real surprises. But here come Brentford now with Jensen's ball into the box. It's charged down. It's still inside the penalty area. Taken down by Schade, who volleys it towards goal. It's blocked at the edge of the 6-yard box by Doucouré. Palace now trying to go on the counter-attack here with the goal scorer Ebi Eze. His pass up towards the halfway line is taken down by Akamada. Over towards the right-hand side here for Nathaniel Klein. Akamada again, back to Doucouré. Square to Richards on the left-hand side. No options here for Palace down the left, having to go back into midfield here now. Schlupp playing it back to Anderson. Square now to Guehi, who looks up and then thunders a long ball over the top here, headed down by Lewis Potter. But Palace win it back in now, and suddenly there's some space at the edge of the area. Ayew finding Ateta at the edge of the box. There's a chance in now for Edouard. Edouard's effort is charged down. A second effort from Akamada goes just wide, but I think he got a slight nick on it as it did so. So there is going to be a corner kick to Crystal Palace after all of that. And a good chance here for the visitors just to keep the ball. Does it get a deflection? Oh, it might have just got a flick of Mbeumo. Doesn't get a touch off Raya, that's for sure. The Brentford keeper certainly doesn't make a save there. And looking at where everyone's positioning themselves in, it is a corner kick, so it must have just got a slight nick off Mbeumo. I can tell you there's a VAR review in the game between Forest and City, so it may well be that Forest's goal doesn't actually count there. But here comes the corner kick for Palace. It's Eze's ball in, headed down by Anderson at the edge of the area. Doucouré now playing it a long way back towards the halfway line. Klein had stayed back as Palace's last defender. Anderson now lifting a ball into the box, headed away by Ethan Pinnock. Back into midfield. Palace have it back here now, down the left with Chris Richards. Eze inside now towards Akamada. On the left here, Akamada trying to get away from his man. He does get away from his man at that far side. It was Mbeumo trying to close him down, but the cross goes straight into David Raya. And Brentford back in possession here now with Keane Lewis Potter switching play from left to right, but the pass to Mbeumo is under hit. Brentford have the ball back. Can tell you the VAR review at the City ground is been and gone, and the goal still stands. So Forest 1-1 with Manchester City there with just 2 minutes to play. Everton still leading against Leeds United by 1-0. And I can tell you from that game that Everton have had 6 efforts on target. Leeds have not had a shot on target in that game. And that's always going to be a worry when you play a side that's below you in the league and you're near the bottom of the league yourself. You can't get a shot on target. It's worrying times for Leeds United, particularly with news that their opponents in next week's game, Southampton, are winning away at Chelsea. So things really could be getting very interesting down the bottom of the league. But here at the Gtech, Brentford in possession in midfield here with Mikkel Damsgaard. Lifts the ball towards the edge of the area. That's a really good header away at the edge of the box by Chris Richards. He's come on the field here and looked very accomplished. He's already had to deal with a couple of difficult balls, a couple of through balls that he's had to cope with. Now here come Palace on the counter. A ball towards Edouard. He couldn't quite get away from Ben Mee. And that's a shame as far as Palace are concerned, because he had options left and right there, Edouard. But now here come Brentford. Janelt finding Damsgaard down the left-hand side. He's heading towards the penalty area, finding Lewis Potter. Oh, that's a poor ball from Lewis Potter. Easily swept clear by Anderson. And back into midfield here now for Pinnock. To Baptiste. Damsgaard back to Pinnock. Space down the right for him. He goes towards Mbeumo. Here is Ethan Pinnock again towards the edge of the area, lifted in. Oh, there's too much on that one as Damsgaard slides in. Well, he does well to at least avoid giving Palace a goal kick, but it's still going to be a throw to Palace down the left-hand side. 90 seconds until we hit injury time in this game. And it is Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. And it was a decent, I say decent, it was a good cross and an excellent header from Eze. Crossing from Olise that gave Palace the lead. And it's out for a throw to Palace now down the left-hand side. Richards just looking around to see where his teammates are. He's not going to be sprinting to take this throw, of course, with his side less than a minute plus injury time away from winning this game. Be a big win on the road for Palace. Out for a throw to Brentford though. Palace making a bit of a mess of that in possession. And out for a throw to the Bees now. Pinnock takes it in towards Baptiste. Back towards Vitaly Janelt. There's a late goal at the Amex. It's Brighton 0, Fulham 1 in that game. And it's Manor Solomon. He got a goal in the last game as well, didn't he? The Israeli international on the score sheet again for Fulham. And that's a big, big goal. That proves to be the winner. Damsgaard down the right-hand side here for Brentford, finding Brian Mbeumo. Mbeumo's ball into the box, easily dealt with by Anderson. Loose ball though, picked up here by Mbeumo at the edge of the area. He finds Damsgaard. Damsgaard being blocked here by Richards. Back to Mbeumo, who's being closed down by Eze. The two substitutes, they're making it difficult for Brentford. Baptiste now finding Janelt. And Janelt's ball into the box. It's not a good one. It was a hit and hope towards Damsgaard rather than an actual part. Now Joachim Anderson suddenly getting cramp, which the cynic in me would suggest that if he wasn't, if his side wasn't 1-0 up now, with injury time just announced, then something tells me that Anderson would be straight up on his feet. But as it is, the Dane is being encouraged by a couple of his fellow countrymen from the other team. First of all, Damsgaard said to Anderson, "Come on, get up, mate." Now Jensen is saying the same, or the Danish equivalent. And that said, most, in fact, nearly every Danish player I've ever seen in the English league speaks perfect English anyway. But I'm sure that that little conversation there would have been in Danish, as the referee just telling Anderson to go off the field momentarily, as is the rule if you've been injured. And Ivan Toney just telling the referee that he's not too happy about that minute wasted there from the Palace centre-back. Just looking towards the referee now is Anderson, whether or not he can come back on the field. For the time being, he's still being told to wait. And it's Vincenzo Gaeta now restarting play here for Palace, punting it long, headed on by Edouard, taken down here by Mikel Damsgaard, back to Vitaly Janelt. The board has gone up, by the way. We're having 6 minutes of injury time at the end of this second half. Must admit that was a little bit longer than I was expecting, but then we have had a few stoppages, quite a few changes as well. Brentford in possession here. Ben Mee almost robbed of it there by Edouard. Ball played across towards Vitaly Janelt. Janelt into Mbeumo. He's 30 yards out from goal. His pass to Schade is not a good one though. And now Palace can go on the counter-attack here with Ahamada, but he's stopped before he even reaches the halfway line. Brentford back in possession here. Ethan Pinnock in alien territory there, almost playing like an attacking winger on that right-hand side. It's ball pumped in now by Baptiste, but that one is easily cleared. Palace have dealt with any kind of cross that Brentford have thrown at them this afternoon. You can't really say that Brentford have had too many clear-cut chances at all throughout the 90 minutes. It's now on the left-hand side with Janelt in towards Baptiste, back towards Ben Mee. Still have 3.5 minutes of the allotted 6 to play, as Jensen now sends a long ball towards Ivan Toney. He heads it down for Damsgaard. Loose ball is cleared back into midfield, but Baptiste is there for Brentford. Plays it into Keane Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter trying to get away from his man, finding enough space for the cross. The cross is a good one. Gaeta gets a punch to it. Loose ball still at the edge of the area, as Jensen heads that on towards Mbeumo, but that's good work. Eze gets there first and clears it long down the left-hand side. That's a great clearance from Eze as well. A touch finder, if that rugby expression makes sense. He actually managed to get that ball to bounce on the line and then go out of play a long, long way from Palace's penalty area. David Raya takes the throw on himself, and Brentford now get the ball back towards the Palace penalty area here. Bouncing ball that Keane Lewis Potter just couldn't quite control. It's cleared back into midfield. Edouard with a heavy touch. Oh, he could have been away for a counter-attacking move all on his own there, Edouard. But the ball just wouldn't quite sit with him there. Brentford now in possession with Janelt to Baptiste. Long ball here from Baptiste. It's a good ball as well to pick out Brian Mbeumo. Under pressure there from Eze. And Eze gets the final touch. Out for a throw to Brentford, level with the edge of the penalty area. And Mbeumo leaves this one. This is going to be Matthias Jensen with a long throw. Certainly does look as though the Brentford midfielder is shaping up to try and get some distance on this one. There's plenty of players to aim at inside the penalty area. And Jensen winding up here now. Long throw from Jensen. Headed away. Good header there away by Richards. Back in by Damsgaard. Bounces at the edge of the area. It's Baptiste trying to flick that one towards the box. Eze with the clearance. And the loose ball now back on the halfway line. It's Keane Lewis Potter dropping a bit deeper for Brentford. Just exchanging a quick pass there with Vitaly Janelt. Janelt now trying to ball into it's another poor cross. Brentford's crossing quality really has left a lot to be desired this afternoon as they win that ball back again in midfield. Got 90 seconds here to try and fashion an equaliser. It's Matthias Jensen's ball towards the edge of the area, taken down by Ivan Toney. Cleared back into midfield though, and now Crystal Palace with a chance to, well, I'm not even sure if they wanted to go on a counter-attack, although they might be now, as Edouard back-heels that ball to Jordan Ayew, and then he plays a long ball to no one. And that will infuriate Patrick Vieira, because they could have just held it up there, Palace, and killed out the last minute of injury time. As it is, they've given it back to Brentford. And potentially one more chance here for Brentford. Full-time results are coming in elsewhere. It's Everton 1, Leeds 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Man City 1. But here come Brentford now with Mbeumo at the edge of the area. Puts a cross in, header towards goal, and Brentford have an equaliser. On 95 minutes, it's Vitaly Janelt with the header. And dismay for Crystal Palace. They were hoping to have held on and to have had this win at the Gtech, but Brentford looked to maintain this unbeaten run. And even David Raya running the whole length of the pitch to celebrate this one. 95.5 minutes gone, just 30 seconds of injury time still to play at the Gtech. But it's Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1, and it's Vitaly Janelt who's scored more than one important goal for Brentford in his time. And in fact, he almost bumped into his own teammate there as he was going for the header. But Brentford with a massive goal there to maintain this unbeaten run. It starts on the halfway line. It's then Damsgaard over towards Pinnacle join the attack. It's Mbeumo with the right-footed cross this time. Ivan Toney was already waiting to head that towards goal, and then suddenly Janelt appears out of nowhere, and he gets the head himself. You actually see Toney looking slightly dismayed when he sees his teammate appearing in front of him, but then sheer delight on all Brentford players and fans' faces there. Thomas Frank delighted as well as Brentford get a late equaliser here to see off Crystal Palace to maintain this unbeaten run. And Brentford now, well, we won't have any more time. The referee allowed Palace to kick off, only to blow for full time straight away. So it's all over then at the Gtech Community Stadium. It's finished Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1. From myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, thank you very much, and do join us again soon.